Hello, and thank you so much for being with us on this Wednesday, August 27th. I'm meteorologist Leah Pizzetti, and this is Weather Out West, the hour-long show where we showcase the latest on what's expected weather-wise across the western United States. You'll find forecasts from our meteorologists in the Pacific Northwest to the Mountain West and California to Arizona in the Southwest. We start today in Boise, where flooding we warned you about is now impacting roads in Idaho. Let's get straight to Hector Mendoza with the latest.
Hello, my name is Hector Mendoza, forecasting out of Boise, Idaho. Here in the Treasure Valley, we saw lots of rain yesterday, and Mother Nature definitely turned on the tap last night and through this morning. So this is just a picture we got posted on our Idaho Weather Watchers Facebook page. Stanley posted this, and you can see here on the north end what an amount of showers that we saw yesterday. And then as we look, we saw a significant amount of rain in many spots. And not just that, we also saw some thunderstorms in through yesterday. So I did want to pull up this video here that shows us the thunderstorms that we saw in through yesterday. And again, this is in Boise, looking off into Emmett, and you'll see that big flash right there. That's Scott Nelson, again, on our Idaho Weather Watchers Facebook page. And we'll continue to see that at least through the afternoon. Another thing we saw yesterday, which was a big cause for concern, was some mudslides that we saw on Highway 21 out at Grand Jean as it closed Highway 21. And you could see that there on that video, and that continues that way through this morning. So we'll continue to update that there. But the biggest thing, again, that we noticed was a significant amount of moisture that came and dropped down in areas up into the higher elevations, even through the Magic Valley and areas into the west in the Central Mountains. That is, saw a significant amount of rain getting closer to about a half an inch there in Stanley and a little above out there in Burley. But we've seen a good chunk of that here in the Treasure Valley early on this morning, and this has been since midnight, where we saw a little less than about a half an inch here in Boise, getting closer to about a quarter of an inch out in Ontario. And these are going to be the numbers we're going to see through the rest of this afternoon. And then we start to see that some of those showers make their way on out as we take a look through the Magic Valley, expecting to see a little bit more of that through the afternoon and evening. Still a possibility of some thunderstorms. Now, we do continue to see a chance for some flash flooding in some spots. It looks to continue there as we have those watches there through early tonight, and that's going to continue for pretty much everywhere here in Southwest Idaho. So we'll continue to keep an eye on that. And here's a look at that futurecast as we start to see that through this afternoon, we'll see less and less of that precipitation make its way on down through the Treasure Valley, makes its way on into the north in areas in the Central Mountains, even including places in the West Central Mountains for today. But we're expecting most of that to stay cloudy. We'll be much drier through this afternoon and heading into the evening, and that's what's going to stick around for tomorrow as we will continue with some of those cloudier conditions. We'll warm up just a bit, and then we're expecting to see that areas into the mountains will continue with those chances into tomorrow, but it'll be definitely much less and not as heavy of a rain as we saw the past couple of days for tomorrow and heading into Friday, as we're going to continue dry and a little bit more of that sunshine to come along in through Friday. So as we look at the 7-day forecast here for the mountains, we'll continue into those mid to upper 70s as we head on closer into Saturday, and then we'll see much clearer conditions there as we're going to see some clouds, but still warmer temperatures as we look on ahead for the Labor Day weekends for some of those higher elevations. Then as we look at the 7-day forecast here in Twin Falls, we're going to continue with those first alert weather conditions through Wednesday. Thursday, we'll see a chance for some scattered showers, and that's pretty much going to be what we mirror here in the Treasure Valley, as we're going to see those chances diminish in through Thursday. Maybe a chance for some spot showers and a storm or two that come through very early in the morning, but after that we expect to stay pretty dry there through Thursday afternoon. We look at Friday and see mostly sunny skies, and temperatures start to get closer to those average temperatures that we see there in the upper 80s. Then as we look on into Saturday and Sunday, we see that sunshine return. Temperatures look more summer-like there into the low 90s, and that looks to continue as we head into Labor Day, and that weekend is looking absolutely fantastic. Not much showers, and we're expecting to stay dry through the middle of the week. Those upper 80s will continue, and we're expecting that at least through the middle of this week. So we're expecting as well as those morning temperatures to also climb up to those mid 60s there into Monday.
Thanks, Hector. Rain is also bringing flooding concerns to nearby eastern Washington. Meteorologist Thomas Patrick is in Spokane with the forecast there.
I'm meteorologist Thomas Patrick in Spokane, Washington. Conditions today a bit cooler than it has been through the first part of this week. And the cloud cover yesterday made for a very interesting day where it started so cool and then just a little bit of sunshine in the afternoon really heated us up to about 90 degrees. But using that as an example for the Spokane area, with the cloud cover largely winning out, most areas will be in the 80s today. A few spots might get close to 90 and a few might end up below 80 degrees. So a pretty wide temperature range today, in addition to a few extra scattered showers, which are actually increasing in coverage even into this Wednesday morning. It's this line that's through southeastern Washington, through Lewiston, Idaho, and into this north central Idaho band. This line and this wave of rainfall is going to be the primary rainmaker for the next 24 hours. It's not going to move very much, so locations to the south of Spokane actually end up even cooler overall because of the extra rain. Locations to the north, if you squeeze out sunshine, again, might be like yesterday where you could get up to 90 degrees. But the rainfall, while most of it will be light, there are some concerns for the mountains and high terrain area of central Idaho. This is a flood watch for Idaho County specifically, and there's a few wildfires that are burning actively in this region, and the rain would be a good way to help quell that and put out some of those flames. But the land itself, the burn-scarred areas, would be very susceptible to landslides or debris flows, especially on high-terrained area. So this isn't necessarily for any of the cities specifically, but a lot of the backcountry mountains of North Idaho because of that extra rain, basically directly on top of the fires and the burn scars. As we look at our future tracker computer modeling, actually a decent amount of rainfall kind of infiltrating the inland northwest. All this is a result of monsoon moisture that has finally found enough northerly momentum to make it here. It's just a matter of how much is left over. The modeling does have to guesstimate kind of where that band of rain will lie at any given moment. So all in all, it's still that rain, it's still that scattered shower chance for Spokane, but I think it's our southern areas that end up with most of the rain today. Meanwhile, as you look at tomorrow morning's forecast at 5 a.m. on Thursday, that band of rain is still present, but this should be the last moment of any last rain showers before we get to the afternoon, which will start to dry off from there. All in all, it's not necessarily the rainfall, but it's the cloud coverage that makes the biggest difference temperature-wise overall. So here's that spread for today. While Spokane sits in the middle at about 82 degrees, the Palouse, where Pullman, Washington is, just 77 for the high, again with the cloud cover and the rainfall present. Meanwhile, northern Washington, like in Omak, a little bit of sunshine can go a long way, even in late August. 91 degrees, the hottest location. So almost a 15-degree temperature spread across just the inland northwest of central and eastern Washington, all thanks to a different amount of cloud cover today. 82 in Spokane is very close to the average high temperature for today, but the heat rebounds into the Labor Day weekend. So here's the 3-day weekend, a lot of sunshine all 3 of these days, but a decent amount of heat as well. 92 on Saturday will be the hottest of those days, but all 3 will be pretty close to 90 degrees. It bodes well for any traveling across the Pacific Northwest because of the dry conditions, but it will definitely be on the hot side to finish August and begin September.
It is hard to believe August is almost over. Still ahead, we'll take you to California, where the monsoon is keeping storms in the forecast for parts of the Golden State as well. Stay with us. Welcome back. Thunderstorms with a threat of lightning are continuing in Northern California. Let's get to meteorologist Monica Woods with the timing of when a break will arrive in Sacramento.
I'm meteorologist Monica Woods looking at our regional headlines throughout northern and central California. It has been a quite active 2-day period here with lots of thunderstorms, not only for the Sierra, but some of those rotating through the valley. More morning fog for the coast. The breeze returns to the valley. That's going to knock down some of the heat. For the foothills, we're keeping an eye on those storms and more thunderstorm risks for the Sierra. That includes the potential for flooding as well as lightning sparked fires. So let's get to it. Over the course of our Tuesday, what was really interesting is those thunderstorms thunderstorms not only hit the Sierra but moved to the valley floor. So numerous lightning strikes throughout the Central Valley, even some small hail accumulating for parts of the San Joaquin Valley. And we got images of a lightning strike that hit a tree. This was in Rockland in the capital region of Sacramento, where you can see it literally just exploded that tree. Shot right down the middle here with debris, not only around the tree, but also going out towards the street and around that car. So neighbors came out, tried to help to clean up some of that mess, but some dangerous weather actually in the capital region. So lightning safety, just kind of a recap here. Move to safe shelter, avoid the top of hills and open fields. So that means if you're doing any recreation like hiking, be weather aware, stay away from water, and then avoid trees and tall objects. Really important key indicators here, especially for the mountainous areas where many people like to enjoy some recreation at our beautiful lakes as well as hiking in the foothills. But that severe weather outlook continues into our Wednesday. Not as much for the valley, and we'll take a look at why. You can see as I expand this view, though, Northern California as well as Central California in that risk range for our Wednesday. Now that really starts to shrink into our Thursday because the dynamics that are bringing this are starting to fall apart. With that, we also get some cooler weather. For our Wednesday, we'll be in the lower 90s through much of the valley. Northern and southern stretches, we're going to see some 100s in there. 70s along the coast, 80s and 90s for the foothills, and close to 70 up top for the Sierra. Okay, let's talk about why we're seeing some of these changes. We still have that high pressure ridge over the desert southwest. So for our Wednesday, we're still going to draw in some of that monsoonal moisture with the opportunity of thunderstorms, but we're also starting to pick up a bit of an onshore flow. That kind of meets up against that line of the potential for thunderstorms and reduces the risk of some of those moving towards the valley floor. We see a little bit more of that on Thursday as that high starts to move its way slightly off to the east. Not entirely, but it will knock down the widespread thunderstorm activity for Thursday. And we'll see some changes as well for that Thursday forecast along the coast. We get a little less of that onshore flow and temperatures come up just a little bit. Highs for the Tahoe Basin in the 70s again for our Wednesday. Chance of thunderstorms that continues our way southward here south of Highway 50. We'll still look at the opportunity for thunderstorms all the way towards Yosemite. Now here's where you start to see some of that heat for inland valley areas. It's just because we have less of an access to that onshore flow coming in. So a place like Bakersfield still up to 100, Mendota nearly at 100, as well as Visalia. Along the coast, we're in the 60s for the Monterey Bay Peninsula. Head our way southward. Morro Bay at 70. Beautiful along the coast there. Santa Cruz up to 69 degrees. Bay Area forecast, we're hitting highs right around 70. Morning fog, partial afternoon clearing. Now here's where we really get the benefits of that breeze coming right through that Delta region. And so some of those inland areas will drop down into the 80s for the northwest coast. We'll see highs in the 60s here for our Wednesday inland areas. Still right around the mid to upper 90s. And in the northeast corner, we'll still have that chance of thunderstorms. For the Central Valley, highs will be close to about 90, 95 degrees as we move on towards our forecast and the holiday weekend. Less in the way of thunderstorms for the high country, and we'll also see a little taste of that warmth coming back here for the valley forecast by the time we get to Labor Day. Highs are back near 95.
Thank you, Monica. Heading down I-5 to Southern California, where many will travel to this holiday weekend, meteorologist Vanessa Paz is in San Diego with a check of if San Diego's weather will pan out for Labor Day travelers.
Well, happy Wednesday from San Diego, California. I'm CBS 8 meteorologist Vanessa Paz. I am telling you, we are looking ahead to a very nice, not even second half of the work week, but also holiday weekend in the coming days. Sure, we have some tropical moisture moving in. We'll explain what that means for your neighborhood in a moment. But here's what you need to know as we get your Wednesday, Thursday, Friday going and kind of wrap up the second half. We will have such subtropical moisture moving on in, all due to a tropical system just to our south off the coast of the Baja Peninsula. Overall, looking ahead to Labor Day, we're looking at much drier conditions. However, the warmth, that heat, will continue to linger. Now, the heat peaks on Sunday, right in the smack of your holiday weekend, and the temperatures will slowly but surely start to drop next week, a degree or two each day. Taking a look at today's highs, pretty comparable to yesterday. We'll still have that monsoonal moisture in the mix and that shot of seeing some showers as well as a pop-up thunderstorm or two when it comes to the mountains and desert areas. Highs will top out in the high 70s, low 90s will be produced for the inland valleys, and I'm forecasting high 80s for the mountain areas. Low hundreds, we'll see plenty of those century degree temperatures out in our deserts. Overnight lows are still going to stay fairly mild, so unfortunately we won't see too much relief when it comes to those overnight lows. We'll be dropping down to the high 60s for our most populated neighborhoods across the coastal and beach neighborhoods. Meanwhile, low 60, quite cool for areas like Ramona, closer to those foothill neighborhoods. High 60s tonight for Julian. It will be close to 80 degrees still later on this evening for Borrego Springs. So that area of high pressure, that's the reason why we are not seeing any relief from the heat. It's going to just sit stagnant over the southwest. There's that disturbance. It's going to deteriorate as it moves a little more northward, but the remnants of that area of low pressure are the reason why clouds are going to build and increase looking ahead to Thursday. That's going to help cool things down, but that's also going to give us the shot for some showers, especially along the coast and inland valleys. Now, taking a look at those winds will still come from that easterly direction today, but then they'll shift out of the west, all due to that disturbance just off the coast of Baja. We're looking at onshore flow making a return, which means we could have periods of gusty winds for the county's eastern half, and we also have the chance of seeing some light showers, not only for the mountains and desert areas, but it will be pretty widespread from the coast all the way towards the inland valleys. Highs tomorrow will look like this. We'll top out mostly in the 80s from the coast all the way to interior parts of the county, mid 70s on tap for the mountain areas, and we'll top out in the high 80s, low 90s for spots like Borrego Springs. Here's what the next 7 days looks like along the coast and inland valleys. I know a lot of people are paying attention because it's a pretty big weekend. We have Labor Day weekend, and we're looking at low 80s. So perfect beach weather Saturday and Sunday. As I mentioned, we will have a lot of that moisture continuing to funnel in Thursday and Friday, but we're looking at drier yet hot conditions this weekend. We'll be in the low 90s when it comes to interior parts of the county for the inland valleys. Not too much change. Tomorrow will cool down, all due to the influx of those clouds and again due to that subtropical disturbance. But then we rise back up to the low 90s come Friday, and we'll stay in that range all the way through the weekend into next week. Now, when it comes to the mountain areas, as I mentioned, we still have that chance for some thunderstorm activity, and that will linger all the way into Friday until we see those temperatures drop a little bit on Friday, and then we're rising back up to the high 80s come Sunday and Monday. For the desert areas, if you're headed there for the holiday weekend, it will be fairly nice, but remember, we still have some of that monsoonal moisture lingering Thursday, and then we're looking at drier conditions once we get to Friday all the way into the weekend. Subtle daily changes once we get to Sunday will be ranging anywhere between 108 to 110, and then we are looking at highs rather down to the low hundreds by the time we get to the middle of next week.
Thanks, Vanessa. Still ahead after the break, Denver has seen some impressive rain this last week. We're tallying up the totals, plus we'll check in with our meteorologists in Phoenix. Welcome back. The monsoon has been impressive across the West Coast this week, stretching from the southwest all the way to the northwest. Stuck in the middle is Denver. Let's pass things over to our team in Denver, who are tallying the totals.
Well, certainly a cool day on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Guess what? Staying cool and staying stormy across most of the state of Colorado. We're getting some beneficial moisture, but in some cases, it's certainly leading to some disruptions as well. In the meantime, certainly a bit of a taste of fall out there, and we're going to get that again for us Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. So how about the good news side of things, right? Here's the good news. We need the rain across Colorado. It's been a dry summer for us. And in Grand Junction, almost 0.2 of an inch of rain. Doesn't sound like a lot, but this is more to speak on how dry it's been this summer. That is more rain than the previous 53 days combined, going back to the beginning of July, back on Tuesday. So a lot of beneficial rain for us in Grand Junction, and between Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. In Pueblo, about 1.5 inches of rain. That's actually more than 10% of your average annual rainfall, but also more rain than the previous 83 days combined. So we're talking about a pretty serious amount of water for us in parts of the state that really need it. Now, Wednesday, another sort of fall-ish like day for us. Those highs only in the 60s and 70s, the mountains, a lot of lower 80s. In the Denver area, for example, average highs 86 on your Wednesday will be right around that. for us as we head, I should say a few degrees below that for us on Wednesday. And also a few showers and storms around along the I-25 corridor and also to the mountains as well. A few stronger storms possible over the eastern plains where there's just a bit more low-level moisture and instability. Now that 7-day outlook, temperatures only hovering in the upper 70s to around 80 degrees for us through Sunday. Then next week we start to dry things out and warm things up just in time for Labor Day itself and into next week. So again, if you're looking for some of that drier and warmer weather, it's not too far around the corner. Until then, more showers and storms and more beneficial rain for us through Friday.
Happy Wednesday, everyone. It's great to see the precipitation. We've seen a lot of cloud coverage, mostly cloudy skies officially for the last 70 hours here over Denver. And we are expecting to see some peaks of sunshine here and there, but really tomorrow we'll see the return of more widespread sun. But this morning, mostly cloudy skies, some lingering cloud coverage over the high country and across the eastern plains. We saw some dense fog at times this morning here across the metro. Right now it's 63 degrees. Things are improving, at least out at Denver International Airport at 9:13, but we will continue to see more moisture stream in here across the state. Scattered showers at this hour, some light rain falling over portions of Eagle County, helpful for drought conditions where a lot of western Colorado under extreme to even exceptional drought there, even over the western slope. Now here over at the metro area, some areas of light drizzle, fog, mostly cloudy skies, but as you can see, visibility is gradually improving from Broomfield out to Denver International Airport, just around a mile of visibility there, so still not great, but hopefully some of those ground delays will be lifted here shortly as the fog continues to dissipate. Temperature-wise, low 60s currently. It is cool, it is humid. You probably want a sweater, a light jacket this morning. Temperatures will be quite comfortable later on this afternoon. You can see that warm up by lunchtime, 73 degrees, partly to mostly cloudy skies. Can see some peaks of sunshine here and there, creating warmer temperatures than yesterday, but still well below average highs. Upper 70s, Denver, Greeley, and Fort Collins, low 80s extending out near Fort Morgan. Our weather impacts for today: scattered showers and thunderstorms. The biggest threat with some of these slow-moving thunderstorms will be some pockets of heavy rain. May see small hail or two over the far eastern plains, but the biggest risk will be the potential for some localized flooding with these slower-moving storm cells. Here's what it looks like. Not everywhere we'll see rain as we take you through 2:30 this afternoon up over Rocky Mountain National Park, our northern Front Range mountains, over the I-70 drive, and then eventually here in Denver, mainly through the evening commute, some wet roadways. We saw delays out of the airport yesterday as well because of the thunderstorm activity. Again, the potential for this evening, mainly between 3 and 8 p.m. of seeing some of those storms roll through, creating some pockets of heavier rain. Rainfall forecast is not looking quite as soggy as yesterday, but still some good precipitation. A nice drink of water for us here across Colorado. A big portion of the state could absolutely use it. Now for tonight, it's going to be chance for storms until about 7 p.m. and then gradually clearing conditions. Still some areas of fog possible, but especially it'll be over the eastern plains to kick off the morning tomorrow with temperatures falling to the upper 50s. High 70s return for tomorrow afternoon, as well as the chance for a few scattered thunderstorms. But we are expecting a little more sunshine through the day, chance for storms in the afternoon, and they won't be quite as strong as what we're going to be seeing for this afternoon. And as we look ahead at our 7-day forecast, it's going to gradually dry back out here across the state. Less moisture set to stream in here for Colorado. Temperature-wise, around 80 degrees on Friday. Slightly cooler, but a little bit drier for Saturday. Still the chance for an isolated storm or two in the afternoon. And then as we get into Sunday and Labor Day on Monday, drier and more seasonal.
Thanks, Katie. Now let's get to Ginger Jeffries in Phoenix, where hot and humid weather continues for Arizona.
I'm meteorologist Ginger Jeffries with a look at your weather out west across the state of Arizona, where we have been seeing some rapidly changing conditions. From an epic dust storm, a haboob, just 24 hours ago to, yes, some more rainfall. And now today's the day we're going to kind of transition into a new weather pattern. As you can see, over the next 3 days, even though we still have some showers, especially for the higher elevations, northern Arizona into the rim country, southern Arizona and western AZ, hazy, going to begin to dry out, even though we still have a lot of cloud cover in the midst, which means our temperatures are still not traditional. We'll get back to the basics in time for the weekend. That's when we're also going to start drying out, but it's still going to be a little bit on the humid side and also on the mild side as far as our numbers go. Take a look. Oh man, it's just been an incredible week for our 12 News weather watchers as they continue to feed in some spectacular views, not just of our dust storm, but yeah, all the cloud formations yesterday. Some of these clouds carrying some dark underbellies. This one from Garrett and Chandler, so East Valley, and certainly there was plenty of cloud cover in certain portions of the state yesterday. So kind of hit and miss with rainfall totals. We didn't officially pick up any rainfall at Sky Harbor. However, downtown Phoenix saw just almost a quarter of an inch of rain, some overnight rain closer to Gilbert and East Valley. We saw 4/100ths of an inch in Chandler, a little over 1/10 of an inch in Paradise Valley, 2/10 of an inch in Cave Creek, and even to the west side, Goodyear picked up some rainfall yesterday. So very spotty, and yep, we're still behind as far as our normal rainfall for the entire monsoon season, which again doesn't end until September 30th. So we still have some time to make up this deficit, and normal rainfall for us a little over 1.5 inches, and I do expect to see some more in the works. Take a look at this. Over the next 7 days, even though the opportunities are really diminishing, so we're really only seeing about 30 to 40% coverage in higher elevations, there's another bump early part of next week, and there is some tropical activity off the coast of Baja California, which could produce a nice little funnel of moisture that could be hitting the Four Corners early part of next week. Right now, it's kind of minimal. We'll still see some action in the White Mountains over the weekend if you're going for a hike, but Phoenix, this is what kind of has my attention for the early part of next week. And again, it all is based on the tropical track and where we've got that high pressure barrier, because as high pressure has been focused over the Four Corners, it's just been drawing all that moisture up, so providing some fuel for a monsoon today. Doesn't look like we'll see any in Phoenix and the west region, really not looking for much, but we'll still get some cloud cover and temperatures not that shabby. 103 today in Lake Havasu. Monsoon meter, yeah, greatly reduced. I mean, we've been seeing 6s and 7s on the board, but now we're down to 4s and 5s. So still some spotty storms and only a minimal opportunity for the valley. As a result, we're going to see most clear skies in the morning, afternoon clouds, temperatures below the normal range. This time of the year, 105 the norm. And then we've got partly cloudy skies, a little bit of action around us, but as far as seeing any measurable rainfall, it just doesn't look like it's going to make its way into the Phoenix metro area. We'll see some of that development closer to Gila Bend, and certainly on the wider scale, we'll get some of these pop-up showers in the higher elevations later today. Again, not as sizable, not as significant as what we've seen roll through here in the past 48 hours, but certainly there's still some moisture on the horizon. So looking ahead for Flagstaff, we still have some showers today, but that's going to start to go down into the weekend. Temperatures as a result will be responding. We're hanging out at 101 today, but getting back above the normal range for your weekend.
Thank you, Ginger. Still ahead, we will head back to the Northwest with a check on the forecast for Oregon and Washington. Welcome back to Weather Out West. After a heat wave in Seattle, temperatures are finally cooling closer to normal in western Washington. But thunderstorms are expected to linger in the mountains. Here's meteorologist Ashley Ruiz with the forecast from Seattle.
Hey there, a very happy Wednesday to you. I'm King 5 meteorologist Ashley Ruiz with a look at your Seattle, Washington forecast. It's not going to be nearly as warm today. We spent 5 days in a row with highs in the upper 80s to lower 90s, so well above normal, but that is going to change today. It's still going to be warm. It's going to be pretty muggy, but we'll have a nice little break before we heat things right back up into the mid 80s starting tomorrow. Once again, we'll introduce the chance for a couple of showers and maybe even a couple of thunderstorms, but more so in the Cascade Mountains and the Olympics today and potentially into our Thursday as well. Here's a look at your 7-day forecast for Seattle. Highs today generally in the 70s for most, but a couple of spots, depending on how many peaks of sun we get, could bump up into the lower 80s. But the mid 80s return Thursday and Friday, and over the weekend we'll have a couple of showers around with temperatures in the 70s. Now next week for Labor Day and Tuesday, some uncertainties in the forecast for now, but we're keeping rain chances out of the forecast at least as of Wednesday with highs near 80. That could definitely change, but let's get through the next couple of days and then we'll keep you posted. Here's a look at the big picture over the Pacific Northwest right now and the interior Northwest. We have a lot of moisture. We have a disturbance in place, an upper low, and some of this moisture could make its way over the Cascades and into the lowlands and foothills of western Washington. And so we'll have that chance for some rain at least through early tomorrow, Thursday. I also wanted to show you this. This just means this light green. That means that there is a chance for a non-severe thunderstorm today. And not just up in the mountains, but everywhere in western Washington, even on the east side of the Cascades. If any thunderstorms develop, they would produce lightning and gusty winds, which we know we don't need that considering we have dry fuels in place, and with it just being so dry and then we had all this heat, we are concerned about the potential for some new wildfires. So we have this red flag warning in place through this evening, 8 o'clock tonight, for the Eastern Olympics and the Cascades. And the latest run of the Futurecast shows that potential of some showers developing, especially once we get that instability building this afternoon. We'll have showers over the Cascades and the Olympics, and some of this precipitation, some of this moisture could make its way over the Cascade foothills and over the lowlands from about Seattle northward and over the northern Olympic Peninsula and the islands late tonight. But we're expecting generally light showers, but we'll welcome anything at this point. A look around Washington this morning. It's been beautiful despite the cloud cover. You can see a good bit of haze off in the distance as well. And I wanted to show you this because this was our sunrise earlier this morning. And what we have, the sun rays, and when this happens, we have sunlight. It's shining through these cloud gaps, as you see right there, and the sunlight scatters off of these particles in the atmosphere. And in this case, we have a good bit of haze, wildfire smoke, as well as some of those pollutants in place. And so you see all this light blue, that indicates some light smoke, and most of it should be aloft, but they will be close enough to the ground to have some drops in our air quality today, running about moderate. High temperatures today, again, depending on how many sun breaks we get, we're talking highs in the mid and upper 70s for Puget Sound. Some spots may get trapped in the lower 70s, but we're cooler nonetheless. Overnight temperatures still on the very muggy side, above normal in the 50s and 60s. But tomorrow, that's when we start to heat things right back up into the mid 80s. For the weekend forecast, the coast will have 60s, clouds, afternoon sunshine, and for Labor Day near 70. Puget Sound, highs generally in the 70s, a couple of sprinkles on Sunday, and as I mentioned, still some uncertainty. If you're planning on camping over the weekend, overall pretty good, but there is that chance we get some of those showers as well. But so far, so good. It's just Saturday where we'll have the greatest chance for a couple of showers, and even then should be on the light side.
Thank you, Ashley. Let's head down I-5 to Portland, where those monsoon storms are also lingering there as well. Meteorologist Rod Hill is in Portland with Oregon's forecast.
From Portland on a Wednesday, I'm meteorologist Rod Hill with our weather update. We had some pretty good snap, crackle, pop this morning in parts of the Willamette Valley, meaning thunderstorm activity. Portland had some thunderstorms last night in the 2 to 3:30 a.m. half hours. Since then, it's been mostly just some scattered frivolous light showers. But this low that has developed into the Willamette Valley triggered hours of thunderstorms this morning in what we call our mid-valley. This will be between the coast and Salem and up over the Coast Range. That activity has since then fizzled, but this setup, which has a second larger low over Idaho, and it's kind of a thumb-shaped little carved out area of low pressure, it's just enough of a trigger to make us really unstable. And that's why we think as forecasters, we could have scattered showers stay on the radar throughout the day, and we might have another outbreak of thunderstorms at some point, but it's not something you can really successfully track and say it's going to happen or not. And if it does, I surely can't tell you where it's going to happen. So that's the kind of day we're having, just wondering if we're going to have another outbreak of thunderstorms down here or not. We do have a red flag warning for high fire danger up and down the west slope of the Cascades up Washington and Oregon. And this is for the potential ongoing of some thunderstorms that could produce some new fire starts. Haven't really seen thunderstorms over the Cascades this morning, but maybe this afternoon something pops. So we'll continue to keep an eye on this high fire danger today. Again, that's along the Cascades. Here is the big radar picture from this morning. You know, I mentioned this yesterday. This just broad area of low pressure is not something that our weather models are picking up on at all. So all you can do as a forecaster is roll up your sleeves and get in and look at the by hand, if you will, the weather data and come up with your own conclusions. Now, we successfully back on Monday thought that we could have some showers and thunderstorms into this morning with that shower chance or maybe another thunderstorm chance not ending until tomorrow morning. So we're just kind of watching this blanket forecast to see what develops. There are still some strikes at this hour down toward Eugene, and these have watch those fizzle out. That batch right there has just recently developed. So if you're going to be down here into the afternoon hours, just realize, keep an eye to the sky. We could see some things pop. Overall, it's a pretty quiet day for most of us, certainly around Portland. Our coast has really been socked in this morning. All of our coastal cameras are cloudy and foggy here. Snoqualmie Casino Resort in Lincoln City. There's Mount Hood. The clouds up over the mountain this morning. Let's see what temperature is. 61 degrees. Yeah, that's a 6,000 feet. So that tells you it's still a very warm and in this case humid batch of air. We actually saw some lightning strikes over our state capitol from the Skycam earlier this morning. But again, that activity for the time being has fizzled out. And as I keep saying, it's tough to tell if we're going to see something redevelop or not. Portland, so far, just measurable rainfall. I think 0.01 is all we've put in the gauge. All right, so forecast numbers today will be in the 80s. It will be another fairly humid to sticky day. Same thing up into southwest Washington. And if anything, I feel like there's a better chance of afternoon showers scattered north of the Columbia River and a less chance to the south. But we'll see. Hard to pinpoint this, as I mentioned. We do have most areas in Oregon and up into southwest Washington with a scattered / thunderstorm threat continuing. In fact, the Weather Service has a flood watch up for eastern Oregon today, where storms are expected this afternoon in places like Baker City, where you could have some heavy torrential rain rates. We'll keep an eye on that. Our 7-day, the impact alert expiring this morning, and then we'll see if we get thunderstorms later today. If so, we would reissue it. Tomorrow, the rain chance ends early morning. The afternoon's dry and 87. Friday's all dry, mostly sunny, maybe 90. It was 93 in Portland yesterday, by the way. And then another shower chance develops Saturday afternoon into Sunday morning. Right now, Labor Day Monday looks dry.
Thanks, Rod. Still ahead after the break, we're going to take a check of our national forecast. Stay with us. Thanks for sticking with us. We have walked you through your weather out west, but let's take a step back now and look at the national picture.
Happy Wednesday, I'm meteorologist Kim Castro. Here's a look at the weather across the nation. A couple of storms headed for the northeast. Portland, Maine, looking at thunderstorm activity this afternoon. That keeps temperatures in the mid 70s. How about for Syracuse? You won't get out of the upper 60s. Most of Florida seeing their stormy weather offshore with the exception of Miami. You are expecting some thunderstorm activity this afternoon. Highs make it into the mid 80s. Humid for Louisiana, for the Gulf Coast. In Texas, we're looking at a couple storms in Houston down to Brownsville, North Texas, West Texas, the Panhandle staying dry, upper 80s to low 90s. For the Midwest, we're looking at Clear conditions for Minneapolis with stormy weather getting down from Kansas to Oklahoma. The stormy weather continues for Arizona with some more monsoonal moisture giving Flagstaff thunderstorm activity. Reno, so the mountain ranges from eastern California into Nevada, looking at some thunderstorm activity, and so will the Pacific Northwest. That's pushing into Boise, Idaho. In fact, that's an area that is under flood watch for the potential of excessive rain, 2 to 4 inches. And the threat in the Pacific Northwest is coming from that, but in a different way. The thunderstorm activity could give way to lightning and fire starts. And with gusts at 35 to 55 miles an hour, that could mean rapid wildfire spread. That's an area to monitor. Cooler for the majority of the country as we move into the start of September, with the exception of the West Coast. Temperatures are going to be running a little bit on the warm side there. Looking at the rain potential, lots of us have the probability of above average rainfall as we move into the start of the new month, especially for West Texas. Here's a look at your tropical update. Luckily, most of the Atlantic basin staying nice and quiet over the next 7 days. You will notice we're tracking Fernand still as it's gained a little bit of intensity. It's a fish storm, though. Over the next few days, it will become a remnant low. By Friday morning, 35 miles an hour. As it pushes into Europe, we could bring a couple of storms for England down to France. Here's your city by city forecast in case you missed your high temperature. Seattle today, 78 degrees, San Diego 82. Phoenix will make it into the triple digits. Notice nice and mild for Denver, Colorado. Dallas in the low 90s along with Houston, and up towards Washington, D.C., we top off in the upper 70s. New Orleans, no storms for you today, but you will be hot and humid with that high temperature maxing out at 91 degrees. Down to Atlanta, upper 70s to low 90s, and Tampa, Florida, looking at the low 90s. Temperatures across the U.S. so far running pretty seasonable for this time of year, and although a good chunk of the country has a chance for thunderstorm activity today, there is no organized severe risk. So carry your umbrella with you.
We have more to get to after the break. Think about this. You know to drink water in the summer, but how much you should drink can vary person to person. And when, how far in advance is a key part of heat stroke prevention. Still ahead after the break, we're going to break down the best ways to stay safe. Welcome back. Finally today, in the heat, you know to drink water. We say it all the time, but how much? How far in advance is best? Let's answer those questions.
Nothing beats a sip of ice cold water on a hot day, but doctors say it may not be the best way to keep yourself hydrated. Working for you, we found the best tips to avoid dehydration in San Diego's heat.
Fun in the San Diego sun can turn dangerous if you don't drink enough water.
Symptoms like I don't have as much energy, I feel fatigued, maybe I have headaches, maybe I have lightheadedness, and we can see things progress to cause more serious problems like kidney damage.
Working for you, I spoke with Dr. Bryn Taylor, a family medicine physician at Kaiser Permanente. She says the amount of water you need depends on your weight, body, and activity level.
In broad terms, we think about 4 liters a day for gentlemen, 3 liters a day for ladies.
Even when it's hot and muggy out, Dr. Taylor says we still need to hydrate more.
You're losing some of that fluid when you're sweating. Also because our bodies need it in terms of increasing our temperature, right? So if we're in a hot environment, that body temperature can rise, and so then we're gonna lose more fluid that way.
So what's the best temperature to drink?
Great question. If you don't have a choice about it, drink what you have in front of you. But ideally, when we look at the science, we're looking at trying to hydrate with things that are a little bit cooler than the ambient temperature. You would want to think maybe 15 to 20 degrees cooler than what you're feeling in the air.
Dr. Taylor says that helps your body better absorb water.
It's one thing to take it in, but really at the end of the day, we want that hydration to be absorbed by our bodies, distributed to our cells, distributed to our organ systems.
If you're doing intense activity for more than an hour, including kids in sports, she recommends adding natural electrolytes.
I like to think of fruits and vegetables, right? Grapes, watermelon, pineapple.
And it's not just what you should be drinking, but also what you shouldn't be drinking.
The things you want to look out for are things like energy drinks that may be high in sugar, maybe high in caffeine. Alcohol can be a fire risk also.
And plan ahead if you know you'll be out in the heat.
24 hours before you're going to do that activity, and then 2 to 3 hours before that activity, you want another boost.
Dr. Taylor says if you take certain medications, check with your doctor about your hydration needs. So before you head out, remember to pack chilled water, maybe some electrolytes, and always listen to your body. Working for you, Alex Lai, CBS 8.
Great reminders. And we talked liters, 3 liters for women, 4 liters for men. That's what you should be drinking. 4 liters, that's about a gallon. So gentlemen, drink a gallon of water a day. Ladies, that's about a little more than 3/4 of a gallon. All right, stay hydrated. Enjoy your day. That does it for us here on Weather Out West on this Wednesday. I'm meteorologist Leah Pizzetti. Thanks so much for spending the last hour with me. We'll be back right here tomorrow, same time, same place.